Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode microplot is a complete adventure with a beginning and an end that fits into the overarching macro plot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order and can skip any you don't enjoy. Today, we are playing using the mechanics from a game called 24-Hour Crime Scene by William Long. It's our first time playing, so we may make some mistakes. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find 24-Hour Crime Scene on itch.io. I have to just mark this one. Just mark it.
All good.
Hold up. Don't stop recording. Okay. I'm just going to pick up right there. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find 24-Hour Crime Scene at longgames.itch.io/24-hour-crime-scene. Build your own 24-hour crime scene character and mystery and play a game with friends. Speaking of friends, today we are joined by Ozob.
Hello.
Detective Inspector Deviteaux.
Aye.
And Ailbh Goldbeard.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
And we're just going to jump right in, shall we? So, why don't you, let's introduce our characters. Ozob.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ozob Deviteaux. I am, of course, proudly the most disgusting goblin you'll ever meet. I'm covered in the best of dirt, the most despicable of slimes, and of course, I'm also, right now, going through a very nasty, nasty cold, so I, of course, got my trusty snot-filled handkerchief with me at all times that will blow at inconvenient moments and disgust other people, which I do very proudly. After all, disgusting people are the cream of society, and I do mean the rotted, fetid cream.
Detective Inspector Deviteaux.
First off, are we sure we want to bring this guy to a crime scene?
Look, I accidentally, on purpose, caught that other murderer, so, I'm, verified.
It is a good thing I'm retired. I come out of retirement for one more case. Because, this monstrous serial killer, Dr. Nightshade, is still on the loose, and I get stuck with this Kasteka.
And Ailbh.
It's going to be
He's
a
going
long
to
24
contaminate this
hours.
crime scene as that goblin. Hello,
I know. Tell me about
Ailbh
it.
Goldbeard.
Don't worry, I eat.
I stand at a lofty 4 foot tall. Hopefully, between the three of us, nothing is over, the third shelf on the bookshelf. Otherwise, we're not going to see any clues. I'm wearing my trusty kilt, my leather boots, and my cotton top, and I have an array of wonderful beverages, should you wish to partake.
I will. Later. Because right now, we have a crime to investigate. I'm going to pull out a broken little spyglass and just put it up to my eye. Why isn't this working?
And it's really odd because you don't actually have a crime to investigate yet. You are all, but that's okay because you're sick and maybe
he says this every day.
Yeah, maybe this is
Presumption of crime.
Any day now.
You're so proud because you feel like the best sleuth in the world because you caught a cold.
Absolutely, as well as a culprit. See, I accidentally sneezed on a suspect and they fell down the stairs and died. So I was able to help an investigation. It was totally on purpose.
You are all enjoying a lazy late afternoon at the Guild Hall. There's nothing planned. The weather is absolutely beautiful. Niliseg brings over a package wrapped in brown paper. When he does this, what does he interrupt you guys doing, the three of you?
I was in the middle of reading one of my favourite horticultural books. I was looking up some new hops and trying to find where they may be. I came across a recipe last time around, a crime, believe it or not. My sister was involved, and there was a wonderful recipe, and I'm trying to find out a little bit more about it.
Detective?
So, a goblin.
Yes.
They asked me.
Yes?
Like, this is the beginning of the sentence, by the way.
I'm
this
so
is
sorry.
not halfway through. This is the beginning one.
I just keep interrupting, going, yes? I keep anticipating pauses. Keep going.
So they ask me, hey, do you want to come out of retirement? You're the former director of Gnome Security. And I go, oh, what's the pay like? And they go, awful. And I go, well, it's about right. Nah, honestly, it's a tough old time to be a detective in these parts. You're 2 feet tall. You can't run as well as you used to, and your accent goes slipping every time you begin a sentence.
So as the two of you are exchanging war stories, and Ailbh is reading a book, and Nulisek, who is himself a gnome, a very short gnome, comes over carrying this package, and he sets it down on the table, and Ozob, you see that there's a note that appears to be written in goblin script.
Loof? Is this from Loof? I'm gonna quickly clamber over to grab the picture. I'm going on top of the table, on top of the package, and I'm grabbing the note, and I'm like crouched up and looking at it.
The note reads, "Open me quick. Don't be so thick. I show you things you never seen. Find out what's really done, or nobody won."
Guys, there's a serial killer note written in goblin. I think we should open this package.
Is that
I don't know.
Well, come on, you boy.
I'm not a boy. I'm a goblin. And I just open the package.
So inside, there is a device of obvious goblin manufacture. Now, I want you to imagine that someone described a gnomish astrolabe to a 5-year-old, and the 5-year-old took out her crayons and drew it badly, possibly while drunk.
Why is this 5-year-old drunk?
Hey, it's been a tough life.
This is a mess of gold and runes and glowy crystal bits. Ozob, you instantly know this to be a relic of Retsker.
This is a relic of Retsker. I'm gonna pick it up. This is fine goblin engineering.
Retsker?
That's fine.
Yes, it's from our god, in fact. So it's not only well designed, but it's also crafted with divine powers.
And just as you say that, it begins to glow. It glows very, very bright. And when your eyes readjust and the light fades, you find yourselves standing inside what appears to be like a break room or something. And you're all dressed in the uniforms of the Nicomoy police force.
What? This does not suit me at all, no. They couldn't have invested in a good heavy woolen kilt. Oh, I tell you.
And
1 second. I take the snotty handkerchief and just wipe it on the front. That's a lot better.
You do not have a snotty handkerchief. You are dressed in the uniform of a Nicomoy town guard.
No! My hanky! Ozob is very distraught by the loss of his snotty handkerchief.
And you see that there's a mirror on the wall, and when you look in it, you do not look like yourselves, except for you, Detective Deviteaux. Now,
one disappointment after another.
But Deviteaux, you look like yourself, but about 10 years younger. The spry age of 100 instead of 110.
He looks worse.
Those were the days.
Ailbh, what do you look like?
Well, I'd imagine he's still the lofty 4 foot that he was before, but much more svelte. He was a stocky dwarf before, very broad, but now much more svelte, perhaps more in keeping with an expected BMI of somebody of 4 foot. Still the beautiful golden beard and the bald head, but maybe less crinkly than he was before, less crevices around his face.
Oh, let me be clear. You don't look like Ailbh.
No.
Deviteaux looks like Deviteaux from 10 years ago when he looks in the mirror. But you look like somebody completely different.
Somebody completely different. It
You're not
happens
even
to
in
have
your own body.
A beautiful beard.
Someone completely different who happens to look quite similar.
Yeah, you're... Yeah,
the nose is all wrong. The eyes are wrong.
like you can tell the difference, but you know, somebody who's a little racist towards dwarves would be like, I don't know, they look the same to me. Can't
Just
pick
a
them out of a
child
lineup.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ozob, what do you look like?
So I'm picturing Ozob. He's like that really slimy like consultant who's like has one ear in like the criminal underground. So he's got that really like, you know, he's got that like suit jacket over like this mink coat and this scarf and like the grossest like fedora hat you can think of with like a little kissy like emblem on the band of the fedora. And he's like, I think I look pretty good, except I'm losing my beautiful green color. I must be really sick, guys.
Love it. Love it. Okay. It is nighttime, and you realize, Deviteaux especially, you realize this pretty quickly because you recognize this precinct. This is the precinct that is closest to Elysium Fields of the Nicomoy Town Guard, and this is obviously the night shift.
Well, I got some good news and I got some bad news.
What's the bad news?
The bad news is we're at work.
What's the good news then?
That's
Everyone is awful at their jobs, so they're probably playing poker out there.
Money to be made.
what's the yes. But what's the good news again? I don't.
They're awful at poker.
No, I heard you. I just don't think that's good news. I don't know how to play poker.
Hey, more good news. I'll teach you, no problem.
As you are kind of joking around a little bit, the
Hey, who's
door, the door to the town guard office opens, and a man, middle-aged, wearing gold and red livery of one of the noble houses that are out here in Elysium Fields, bursts in. And he says to you three, I need help. I need to report a murder.
I told
Okay,
you any day now we're gonna get a crime. And look,
Well, you know, credit where credit is due.
Deviteaux, I suspect you are in the best position to take a statement from this fine gentleman.
Yeah, it's a nice, easy one. So what's the name?
My name or the victims?
Either's good. Let's go victim.
Yes, I'm sorry. Sorry.
take a deep breath. It's okay. Look into my soothing green puke eyes.
He his eyes go very, very wide when you say that. He says, it was Master Arturo Consenza Bilanza de Medici and his wife Maria.
Why is the wife just Maria?
I don't think I've got space for that on the form.
Federico Contenza Balazzo di Medici. Did I catch that correct?
Arturo and Maria Contenza Bilazno de Medici.
So Master Federico and Maria is what I'm going to call them, because I'm a very simple goblin. I mean, human. And then I look left and right.
And he says, my name is Joseph Arturo Filosofeno, and I am their servant.
Right, and so that's the victim's name. What's the murderer's name?
He looks at you like,
That's what we're supposed to find out, detective.
I don't know.
Hey, I'm the professional here. Sometimes it works. If the murderer comes and reports him, sometimes it trips him up.
It's a good technique. I've seen him. He's done it before. He's very, very efficient.
Fair enough. I am new at this game.
I just found them a half hour ago. It took me that long to get here, but I can take you back to the house. I locked the room, and I'm the only one with a key besides Master de Medici.
You protected the crime scene. Very much appreciated. You've done this before, haven't you?
Yes.
Well, no.
Good answer.
I see what you did
trying to
there.
catch you
I
out.
see
You see,
what
that's a
you
good
did
answer.
there.
My sister's in crime.
Crime
Your
or
sister's in crime?
crime prevention.
Yes, but he kind of smiles and says, sadly, the former.
Oh.
Okay, and what's her name, just so we know for the record?
Her name is Sophia, but she's currently in Jessup. I don't think she'd be involved.
Oh, no, just for, later.
Interesting. So we've got a locked door mystery with a sister in crime and a servant in cahoots.
A servant, the only one with a key to the
Right,
room.
hang on, let me just write that down for the teaser.
The teaser.
Yeah. You know, when I tell this story later, you need a teaser to
That makes sense.
make people want to listen to it, you know?
Yeah.
Joseph, you said your name was.
Yes.
I think you should lead the way and tell us your story as we make our way to the scene of the crime.
Okay. So he...
Hang on, I gotta lock up first. There's no one else here, as it turns out. So, let's lock up. I'll leave a note on the door saying, back in 24 hours, please don't do any crime while we're away.
I think that the criminals of this place are respectable enough to listen.
Yeah, hey, it works, you know?
Well, actually, when you walk out into the office to start writing that note, you do see that there's the desk sergeant is there, and he apparently just got back from his break, which is why Joseph was able to just burst through. And he says, "Going out, detective?"
No, I'm staying in.
We are? Ozob asks, confused. I thought we were going to go to this murder.
That's a good one. I'll see. I'll catch you later.
What's a good one? Ozob mutters as he follows. An idiot who caught a murderer and a cold.
No, you know what? Yeah, sure.
As you load into the De Medici carriage, and the driver starts heading back towards Elysian Fields, and Joseph fills you in as much as he can. He says that he was coming in to deliver a kettle of tea for the master and lady. It's very, very common for him to do that before bed. They had gone to bed a few hours before, and when he came in, he saw they were lying there in pools of blood. He checked to see if they were still alive, and they were not. And then he locked the door. And he and Lord Arturo are the only two with copies of the key. He left a serving boy named Oliver to watch the door and left to get the police.
Okay, interesting. So, questions, Mr. Joseph, sir. Was the door locked when you walked in with the kettle?
No.
So it wasn't. It wasn't locked when you got there. Interesting. What does this person? There's these people. Do they have any enemies of any sort? You know, the people who stole their snot rags, for instance.
They have many enemies.
Oh, that does not narrow it down.
And did you touch the bodies at all? How did you determine that they had passed?
I did have to touch them to determine that they were no longer breathing and their hearts no longer beat. He looked genuinely upset.
Interesting. Well, don't worry. I mean, you know, they were dead before you got to them, I'm sure. Actually, speaking of which, quick question. So how long did you leave them unattended?
Well, I left there just about a half hour ago, and it takes about a half hour to get there. I'm afraid they will have been gone. I will have been gone from the house for almost an hour.
Well, what was the last time you checked up on them before you found them?
As I said, they had gone to bed a few hours beforehand. So.
Interesting. They went to bed, and when you had gotten back with a kettle of tea in the morning, they were dead. Interesting. I don't have any other questions. I'm just thinking.
Just to clarify, it's not morning. This is evening.
What prompted you to
So
go
they'd
and
gone
check them? If it was in the middle of the night, why would you go into their chambers?
Well, it's not that late. It's fairly early evening, and
But they were asleep.
No, they had gone to bed. So
I see.
Oh.
So you wanted to interrupt
They were doing the
them,
squeaky
I
squeaky.
see, right.
You wanted some of that action.
I beg your pardon, sir.
You wanted the squeaky squeaky. You know, that's goblin for sex.
He looks utterly horrified. And
I see a
and
jealous
says,
lover.
Don't. That's...
I've been there, buddy. It's okay. I understand.
Sir, I have served this family almost my entire life.
Yeah, you have.
No, sir, that's revolting.
What? Why, thank you.
I feel I should probably apologize for my associate here. He's new, and as you can tell by his entire deal, he is not long for this profession. Or this world, in fact, depending on who he talks to.
So you're saying he's a transfer from perhaps further into the city?
Oh yeah, he's a transfer from hell, let me tell you.
Excuse me, but I'm not the one dating a demon.
I beg your pardon?
No, never mind. That's just a funny thing we say up in the city. I looks one way, then the other. Yep, that's just a saying.
Yeah, and when he says the word city, like, there's this sort of just like revulsion in his voice, like, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
All of us are like this, by the way. Stay away from the city.
All right, so you arrive at the De Medici Manor House. It is a large, beautifully appointed mansion out in Elysian Fields. This family has money, lots of money, and Joseph takes you upstairs, and there is a young, sandy-haired, adolescent boy there who says, nobody came in or out. Nobody tried. It's been really quiet. Is everything okay?
Everything's absolutely fine.
I mean, your
apart
parents
from the
are
two
dead,
corpses
but...
upstairs. Yeah, apart from that.
Apart from the death.
My
Yes,
my parents?
No. Actually, who are your parents again?
And he looks at Joseph with like tears in his eye, and it just says, "It's okay, Oliver. Your parents are fine. These men are speaking of other people. They don't know who you are. You can go back to your quarters." And the boy, Oliver, runs off. He is a servant in the household.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Ozob, we knew that.
Did we?
It's fine. You're gathering clues. It's okay.
Yeah,
You're testing for
He's
reactions.
gathering clues and then shoving them up somewhere they should not be.
But yes, if you do later want to question him or turn him into a suspect, his name is Oliver Mason.
Oliver Mason.
Yeah. I'm
Mason
sorry. He is
family.
not a teenager. He is about 8 or 9 years old. So
Okay, that
wrote
makes
that
more
down.
sense.
yeah.
It probably wasn't him, but maybe.
We don't rule anyone out. We go by the evidence.
Nobody.
We don't assume.
Nobody. Absolutely.
All right. So Joseph unlocks the door and opens it, and he takes a quick look around. He says, "I didn't search the room when I was here earlier, but it doesn't look to me like anything's been disturbed."
Very well.
Are things often left in the middle of the floor, Joseph?
No.
And this
No,
window.
but I do remember stepping on papers when I went over to their bed, so that wasn't. I didn't. It looks the same.
Okay.
And this window, was it open when you left?
As I think so.
Very suspicious. Quick question, dear detective. So, this serial killer, was it recent? Was he striking recently?
Well, I mean, are you talking like recent in 10 years ago?
Sure.
Recent or...
Back
Sure.
when you were 90.
You know, I'm talking about like 10 years ago as in like our current bodies, you know?
Joseph is probably like, what is going on?
Actually, it looks like Joseph doesn't understand. Like, it's almost like he doesn't even hear what you're talking about when you refer to this time shift.
Interesting. Let me think. So let's question. Let's see.
Let me lay out the existing clues here. So these are in 24-hour crime scene. Clues are physical evidence of some kind that exist, either associated, with the crime scene, or you may establish clues that are outside of the crime scene, and so forth. And we start out with a few of them. Now, for those listening and wondering about this game, normally the players communally create the crime scene clues, but as we are playing in an existing mystery, I have provided a set of clues for the players. So here are some clues that already exist. Arturo and Maria's bodies are lying in their large bed. They both have stab wounds, and there is a lot of blood. They are both dead. Joseph has said that they were both deceased when he came in, and that he has not moved anything. He also says that he last saw them going upstairs to their room about 4 hours ago. Joseph says that he found the bodies about an hour ago, because it is 30 minutes to the nearest town guard that he found you at, even by fast carriage. Oliver Mason, a serving boy of about 8 or 9 years old, was left to watch the door and change nothing. Oliver says nobody has gone into the room since he was left in charge.
Interesting.
The window is open. Scattered around the room are papers and other physical evidence of various corrupt wrongdoings by the Deviteaux going back for years. And this is a clue that you will find when you talk to Joseph, and the household does a little bit of a search themselves. A tiny platinum statuette in the image of a fox is the only thing, apparently, that is missing.
Interesting. So
Okay.
let's see.
Now, the way this game works, 24-hour crime scene, is each player goes in turn, and you will answer a prompt. These are drawn from a card deck, and then there's like a reference sheet, but I'm going to draw and read the prompts as we go. So on your turn, you can, first you will answer one of the prompts that I read to you, and then you have 3 choices of an action that you can take. One action is to investigate. When you investigate, you may discover a new clue if you investigate the crime scene. If you do that, for the listeners at home, we actually have a shared whiteboard that we're using for the crime scene paper. You draw it on the crime scene. You may investigate a clue that already exists. If it's already been found, you can learn more things about it, or you can connect it to a suspect or group of suspects. And that turns it into evidence. Evidence goes into the victim or suspects sheets that we have on our whiteboard as being associated with them. So when you accuse a suspect, you can use evidence that is on their, associated with them to say, and I think that that's because they, had the murder weapon, whatever it is. You may also investigate the victim themselves. You learn something new about them. You can even search their body for items while it's still at the crime scene. At a certain point in this game, we will no longer have access to the victim's body. Okay.
Because they're not dead.
No, because the hearse comes and picks them up. The morgue picks them up.
Okay, that makes more sense.
quick.
Yes. That was quick. Wait a minute.
Second, you can. So that was investigate. So investigate is basically investigate physical evidence. You can also interview a suspect. When you take this action, you learn something about the suspects, a suspect on your suspects list. We're starting out with no suspects. The other thing you could do when you, quote, interview a suspect is find a suspect and make them into a suspect. So you can say, oh, I think that the butler did it, so I am putting Joseph on the suspect list.
No, that's too cliche.
Right. A suspect may add a clue, like if you're interviewing an existing suspect, they may add a clue to the investigation. So they may say, oh, blah, 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 there's a secret panel over there that has such and such. They may connect a clue to a suspect, themselves or someone else, that turns it into evidence, right? So basically, when you interview a suspect, you are learning more stuff.
Okay.
If you add a new suspect, we will put that on the suspect character sheets. And when you create a new suspect, you must reveal why you think they're a suspect. Okay. For the listeners at home, because we are playing in the Fire Breathing Kittens setting, I have provided the players with some possible persons of interest that are already known to know the Medici family. So they may be brought in, or they may just, the players may decide that's not a suspect. We're going to make up some suspects. That's totally fine. Okay. And then the third thing that you can do is called consult. Consult is where you ask a question, and going around in a circle, the other players have a 1 or 2 sentences to answer it in character as their detectives. So when you ask questions in the consult phase, please ask open-ended questions rather than say, who did it, right? Or did so-and-so do it? Instead, ask, who seems more guilty? Or who's got the best reason to kill these people? Or who could have done this, right? So try
Who
to
most benefited from their death?
has
like
the
try to
most
leave it
blood
a
down
little
the
more
front of?
open-ended. Right, yeah, like stuff like that, right?
Whose hands are covered in blood currently?
Yes. Now, when I say that you find clues, or you connect clues, or you find a suspect, what I really mean is that the players make them up. So you will describe, Ozob crawling underneath the bed finds a bloody shoe or something, right?
Shoe.
Whatever. And starts wearing it. I don't know, whatever seems reasonable.
This is obviously the murder weapon. It's a pointy shoe. So they put it on their hands like this, and they just stabbed him to death.
But whatever it is, right? As the GM, I didn't put a shoe there. You made that up, right? That's the nature of this game. So when I say you find a clue in the course of your investigation, what I mean is, in that scene, you get to make one up. Okay. All right.
All right.
And we keep playing until the last card is drawn. Each card roughly represents an hour of time. The last card is the end of 24 hours. There's 24 cards in the deck and 24 prompts. So.
And then the murderer gets away.
Yeah. Now, the order in which I'm going to go is Ozob, Detective Deviteaux, and Ailbh. So, just letting y'all know, Ozob has the first prompt.
So
Ozob.
the first thing.
There are 2 prompts that I'm going to read, and you're going to pick which one you want to answer.
Okay.
You discover a letter at the crime scene. Who is it from and who is it to? Add it to the relevant sheet. Or, this isn't the first time you've been to this crime scene. Why were you here before?
Oh, no. I'm going to do the second one.
Okay.
Oh, guys, this is really embarrassing. I've actually been here before. You see, well, You see, I had a paramour up here who was a servant in the house, and apparently they had access to this room while the couple was away, so, I thought that, I didn't find out until later, apparently, that they weren't the master of the house. But yeah, so if this is either the masters of the house, actually, then, I totally had some fun with the servant, and, in the bedroom, I guess it might have been their kink? I don't know.
So, Ozob, I'm going to ask you a question. For Ozob, did that happen more than 10 years ago? Because remember, we have transported in time back 10 years in the past.
That was more than 10 years ago, yes.
Okay. So that was like, when these people were actually alive.
I'm going to say
oh, sad.
it was 12 years ago.
Oh, nice.
I want to say.
Okay. All right.
12 years ago. And the guy told me, he told me, he's like, oh, don't worry about it, because the master and mistress of the house let me do this all the time, so they knew.
Okay. Also, just for clarification, in the course of trying to figure out where you are and when and so forth, you have learned that you are actually about 11 and a half years in the past.
So 12 is perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And then, Ozob, you may now take one of those actions: investigate, interview, or consult.
I'm going to go talk to my paramour. I would like to talk to the witness. Interview. Thank you.
Interview. Yeah.
That's a big word for Ozob. I would like to interview my former paramour.
So what you do when you interview is you tell us what you learn when you go interview her or him, them.
Well, you say it was actually multiple times with different people. Apparently, this bedroom is just, if you had a black light for this bedroom, it'd just be like horrible. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe they weren't good masters. So anyways, I'm going to consult both of them. So listen, apparently, this whole thing of the servants using the master's and mistress's bedroom, that was started by an affair partner of one of the husbands. Apparently, she started doing it as a revenge thing, and it just kind of got repeated by the staff. So apparently, however, she was fired after this, and apparently she started stalking the husband right after that.
So you are creating a suspect, it sounds like?
Yes. Her name was Dominica.
Okay.
I don't know her last name. She didn't.
We'll find out.
She's a servant. I don't know her last name, but her name was Dominica.
So wait, Dominica was the affair partner and a servant?
Yes, for the husband. Yes, she was also a servant.
Okay.
Apparently, she thought that he was going to leave his wife for her, and he just like, no, I'm not doing that. Goodbye. You're fired. He apparently said it exactly like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Now, Detective Deviteaux.
Right.
You discover the last message the victim either sent or received, like a letter or a note. What does it say? Or what is the most unusual thing about the victim? Describe it and add it to the victim sheet.
I'm going to go for the second one. So the most unusual thing about the bodies. So I'd say on closer inspection, the most unusual thing that I see is that even though they've got slashes all across their body, they almost seem to be like their skin appears there's a faint greenish tinge to it, and it seems to be they seem almost like they've been dehydrated a little bit. They're all flappy, and I mean they're cold because they're dead, but they seem to be almost drained of something.
Okay. Not exsanguinated, though.
No, not quite that much.
Okay.
But,
excellent. And then investigate, interview, or consult.
Well, while I'm here, I may as well, take a closer look at the bodies. So investigate.
Okay. What do you learn? Are you investigating the victim's bodies?
Yeah. So, I think what we'll do is investigate, try and find out the cause of death to see whether it was in fact all the bodily slashes, or if that's just a thing that happened after to make it look like a clumsy job.
And what do you learn?
Well, on even closer inspection still, I find on each of their necks a very small pinprick on the exact same spot on both of them. And there's a certain amount of swelling, and I said there was a bit of a green tinge to their bodies? Well, it looks even more green around that point.
Excellent.
They were poisoned.
That sounds like a clue. All right. Ailbh.
Hello.
Your commander, who in this case is probably the desk sergeant sending a note or something at some point, informs you of a clue that was found away from the crime scene. What is it and where was it found? Or you discover something hidden. What is it? Draw it on the crime scene.
Going to go with the latter. I think actually around the bed, a hidden item is found.
Is it a
It is
snotty,
a snotty handkerchief. That is what the green is. Rubbed on it. No, it's going to be the end of a hypodermic needle. Seems it's perhaps been removed and it's fallen down, perhaps down by the headboard.
I was about to be like, oh, I did it!
Ozob, you are always a suspect at every crime scene.
That's fair. It's like 50% chance I did it. It's 100% chance I did it by accident, but usually it's like a 50-50.
All right. So we have added a hypodermic needle to the crime scene. Ailbh, you may now investigate, interview, or consult.
I would like to investigate the crime scene, if I so may. I'm especially interested in the window, as that seems to be the likely exit of any would-be murderer. So going over to the window, Ailbh maybe finds a wee box or something just to prop up so you can get a good look out. And looking down, it's very clear that somebody has jumped out of this window. Even second story, it's clear somebody has gone down, perhaps some trellis down the wall, and you can see a very clear disturbance of the gravel below the window.
Second story.
Sort of climbed down, they maybe hung, fingertips and then just dropped the last story.
Interesting.
All right. I've added a trellis to represent that.
Wonderful. It's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
Until Ozob's turn, and then it all goes.
Ozob sets fire to the room.
We'll find out that was Ozob.
Yeah. I was like, that's such an... You said...
Turns out past Ozob is actually in the cupboard at the moment,
There
hiding.
are two Ozobs.
What?
There are two Ozobs, both with 50
That would be a
chance,
mystery.
so therefore one of them did it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if
But
you
who did it?
want in the interview phase to establish that Ozob is here and a suspect, sure, why not? All right. You discover an item
funny.
related to the victim's job. What is it? Add it to the crime scene and the victim sheet. Or what was the victim doing before they were murdered? Where were they?
Well, we know that one.
Well, we know that one. Well,
We don't know what they were
unless-
doing. We just know that they went to bed.
Yes, we do.
So actually, I'm going to say that the two of them were arguing before they died. And they saw something out the window, and that led to an enormous argument.
Okay.
I'm going to interview a witness, which is Dominica. She saw someone come outside, and after she saw the whole thing happen, she saw a masked figure killing them and slashing their bodies. He left outside the window.
Hold up. She
Wait,
witnessed
too much.
the whole murder?
No, just the end part. She saw someone coming out the window.
She saw somebody coming
And
out the window. She didn't see them slashing
No,
and
no,
murdering.
no, not the slashing and murdering. So the guy came out the window and then went back inside the mansion.
And you said it was a hooded figure?
Yes, a hooded figure. The plot thickens.
I mean, of course, the question is, what was she doing there?
She was stalking. Apparently, yes.
Because she stalks him.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she stalks him. She stalks the husband.
Full-time job, then.
Yeah. She actually had a nice little bag lunch she was eating, and just with the binoculars, and she was just eating mozzarella balls. and boiled eggs from a tree. But she heard them arguing before they were before.
Okay. And that's your interview?
Yep, that's my interview.
Great. Detective Deviteaux. You hear or smell something that piques your interest. What is it?
It's up.
And you probably are going to pick that one because the second prompt I kind of already ruined, which is who contacted the police about the murder, when and how did they discover the victim's body. But if you want to change when and how they discovered the victim's body and discover something isn't truthful there, you can.
A lie. I thought Joseph was a stand-up guy, too.
I think having a wander around the room and walking it in front of the cupboard, Deviteaux kind of goes, something doesn't smell right here. And the thing is in here. And I open the wardrobe, and Ozob comes tumbling out.
What?
I thought I recognized that smell.
Wait, what? It was me? Wait, is it Ozob? That's my. That's not my turn.
Ozob's player, you're now playing two versions of Ozob.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll interview myself. Why don't I remember this? Because it was 12 years ago. Well, sorry, it's 11 years before. But I don't remember. I do remember being here. Maybe I did it. And I stabbed myself.
And let's just say that you don't really remember a whole lot about that night or that time period.
I don't remember a thing. That's so odd.
Well, you never. Maybe it has something to do with why you were in the cupboard in the first place.
Yeah. Well, I think, isn't it still your turn, though?
It is still your turn. So are you interviewing, investigating, consulting?
I think I want to interview past Ozob.
Oh, my.
And what do you learn?
I think we're going to learn that I think Ozob was sneaking around, seeing if he could find any of his paramours, because he, puts the more in Paramore.
I do.
And he started making his way. He managed to contact one of them, and they decided to make their way up to the bedroom. He went first, and then he heard voices on the other side of the door, and he panicked and jumped in the wardrobe, and doesn't remember much after that, or so he claims.
I don't trust this Ozob fella.
Is Ozob, past Ozob, a suspect? Do you want him on the suspect list?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I put him on the list. It's a 50% chance it was me.
250s make 100.
But wait, if it's 50% chance for each Ozob, doesn't that mean it's like a lower chance? Yeah, it's only 25%, so I don't know. I don't know. That's how that math works, right? Yeah.
So we need more Ozobs in here to exonerate him.
And then I look under the bed, and there's another Ozob!
Look,
what is going on?
Look, Ozob, during Community, the Nicomoy Frequency episode, we had a relic of Red Skirt that turned everyone and everything into goblins. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, too many goblins.
I also have a stick that turns you into random animals when you hit people with it.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it just doesn't work because it doesn't want to.
Yeah, the goblin god of trickery is fickle.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Detective Deviteaux, for your interviewing skills. Ailbh.
Yeah.
The clothes the victim is now wearing weren't the clothes they were wearing earlier today when they went to bed.
Ooh.
What were they wearing then, and what are they wearing now? Or you suspect that the victim's body was moved after they were killed. Where was their body before?
In the cupboard.
With Ozob. It all works. You're going to jail, me, for a while.
For 11 years.
In which case you'll be passed out drunk and won't remember any of this. It all comes together.
So, Ailbh notices that despite the stabbings, there's no blood underneath the bodies, which would indicate this did not happen here. They were moved from a other location to this bed.
Oh my.
Interesting.
And where
But
were
that-
they before? You will find evidence, or you will find an indicator of where they were before they were stabbed.
Cupboard.
I'm going to avoid the obvious
The door
cupboard
wasn't locked,
trope.
so it might not even be this room.
There's a library
Yeah.
across the hall. And I feel like this has turned into a game of Clue. It happened in the library with a hypodermic needle, and it was Ozob. You can see, I don't know if it's maybe a carpet. You can see sort of scuff marks, like 2 heels being dragged, which is how we were able to track back into the library.
It makes me think that maybe Dominica did it. Because if she's lying, then why would she leave by the
Why would
window?
Joseph?
Why would the assailant?
Okay.
Unless he was Joseph. Joseph is suspicious now, too.
Okay, so Ailbh would like to look at some of the evidence. Looks like there are manuscripts or sheets of paper around the bed. And picking them up, these appear to be threatening letters to the Medici family. Perhaps blackmailing them with the knowledge that their wealth is much lower than they report.
That's just a bank statement, surely.
$0.
It's just the bankers being like, give us our money.
Okay, so we have blackmail
There are
letters
blackmail letters,
Who are they by?
and they are signed only with the letter B.
Interesting.
then. Okay. You have established more information about a clue.
Interesting.
All right. Ozob,
Yes. Yes.
what was the weather like at the time of the murder? How does this affect the crime scene? Or what big event was happening at the time of the murder? A big sporting event, townwide celebration, a religious holiday, etc.
I'm gonna say weather. You see, this is even more suspicious. It was raining very hard during the time of the murder, which means I'm not even sure Dominica could have been able to see any of this going down or hear anything. Unless she's not where she said she was. I guess what I will do is I will talk about to Dominica. I will interview Dominica again. Dominica, how the heck did you see any of this? She breaks down crying and she says, I'm sorry, I wasn't actually there. Some guy sent me a blackmail letter saying he would expose me and the child that I have from the husband if I didn't say I was here. Interesting. Someone really wants us to think that they left by the window, but they weren't even there. Probably didn't even leave by the window. Or did they? And they're throwing us off. It's games within games within games. And that'll be my turn.
Awesome. Deviteaux, something about the crime scene really disturbs you. What is it? Or you find a news article about the victim. Why were they mentioned in the paper?
I'm going to go for the news article.
Okay.
Because it's very easy to say what disgusts me most here. And it's Ozob.
Ah, you shouldn't have to say that. That's so sweet.
So this news article, it will be a report on Arturo, etc., surname. He's recently announced a bid to run for mayor of Nicomoy on a very strong and anti-mob bill.
Ooh. Getting
Nice.
political.
Okay. And would you like to investigate, interview?
Yeah, I'm
Or-
gonna investigate. I'm gonna investigate past Ozob.
Okay, so are you interviewing him, or are you physically investigating him, as in
I'm physically
searching
investigating.
searching him for clues?
I
Yeah,
feel
so I'm gonna take a deep breath, and
You're like, it's because of the smell, isn't it?
I'm gonna hold my breath, and I'm gonna check the same spot on Ozob's neck that I found the marks on the 2 corpses, and to my surprise, I find in the same spot what seems to be a needle point.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
Can't
Then I
tell if
check
he's
my
turning
neck.
green, though.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Well, wait. Is it human Ozob here, or is it regular Ozob? Oh no, I'm human. Wait, I actually never asked. Is Ozob, past Ozob, a goblin?
Yeah.
And I'm human right now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So past Ozob would not recognize you.
Oh, there we go. Paradox avoided.
Okay.
As long as you keep your mouth shut.
I look at Joseph. We're gonna have to take care of Joseph. Joseph's just watching. We're gonna have to take care of Joseph.
No, Joseph has left for you to do the investigation. He's out of your way.
Okay, thank goodness.
Ailbh, you recognize the victim from somewhere else. Why do you recognize them? Or there are signs of a struggle at the crime scene. What are they? You can make that in the library or the bedroom where the bodies were found.
I think I'll roll with the library investigation, and yes, there were signs of a struggle. It would seem a one-on-one is the most likely. There's one chair sort of pushed back. So perhaps a book was on the table by said chair in the library, which has been knocked asunder, lying open right in the middle, and another chair lying on its back. And I would like to interview a suspect. I'm intrigued by Joseph. The timeline.
Okay, Joseph isn't a suspect yet. Are you
I'm
adding
going to
him
add him
the
to the
suspects
suspect list. Based on timeline of what he said happened, he didn't report any arguing beforehand, but he was obviously nearby. And it turns out that Joseph perhaps wasn't in the house or in the mansion at the time he said he was. So actually they may have been in the room or in the library for longer than Joseph said.
So he didn't hear anything?
Joseph, because he didn't mention any of the arguing, the story unravelled that he didn't discover the bodies quite when he said he did. Or they didn't go upstairs when he said he didn't. It just didn't quite line up.
Oh my god, what happens if he was having an affair? He was having an affair with Dominica.
Or with Ozob.
With
Menage
Ozob!
a trois.
Okay.
Suspicious.
Ozob.
And then I end up, yes.
Someone arrives at the crime scene and tells you that they were supposed to meet someone at this location. Who are they, and who were they supposed to meet? Or what was the biggest topic of conversation before people were talking about the victim's murder? Did the victim's death steal the spotlight?
I'm gonna go with the first one. Someone unexpectedly shows up, and you know what it's gonna be? It's going to be a lawyer. I'm sorry, I didn't put on the Ozob voice. They were supposed to meet the wife for a divorce this very day. I'm going to interview this lawyer, who's the name Sebastian. And Sebastian is going to reveal to me that he was encouraged to meet the wife by the wife's twin sister, and she was supposed to meet him.
Did you say why he was meeting her, why he was meeting Maria?
Yes, for a divorce proceeding, to discuss divorce proceedings. And she was encouraged to do so. He apparently got into contact with Maria because Maria's twin sister, Antoinette, was consulted, and she recommended it. This lawyer, Sebastian. And that'll be my turn.
Excellent. Detective Deviteaux. Your commander informs you of a clue found away from the crime scene. What is it, and where was it found? Or you discover something hidden. What is it? Draw it onto... No, sorry, that's the wrong one. That was earlier. That was the King of Spades. People in the town are preparing for something, a holiday, a competition, etc. What is it, and was the victim involved? Or the victim was keeping a secret. What was it? Add it to the victim sheet.
I mean, let's do secret. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can we tie Ozob into this more?
Oh my gosh. See, you say I'm not a very good detective, but I'm so involved in this case.
Yet you didn't think to tell us.
Just like Dexter.
Suspicious.
I don't remember any of this. I've been at so many people's murders. Do you think this one was that special? You see one murder scene, you see them all.
So what's the secret?
I'm just having a think, because I think we've focused a lot on Arturo so far. I think we need a bit of sauce for Maria. Ooh, that's a good secret.
What is it?
So after I have a little look in one or two of the bedside drawers, and within that there's a false bottom on one of the drawers, and I lift it up, and there are some very old papers. And rifling through those, I discover that Maria was lying about her identity.
Was she?
So it appeared she had a different name before she met Arturo, and she lied to get in with the family.
And what was her name before?
Well, I mean, do I really want to be so
This is a mystery.
explicit about it? I mean, we can do.
What was it?
Yeah.
I should
think it'll be
ask,
fun.
is it meaningful?
We can make it meaningful, yeah.
Is it Antoinette, the twin sister of Maria?
Two Ozobs
doesn't
and
exist.
somebody's their own twin.
That's pretty good. That's pretty spicy right there.
Well, let's just put it this way. When Maria first met Arturo, she introduced herself as Maria, let's say, Delgado. However, her real name was Maria Monteleone.
So she, oh my goodness.
For those following along at home, the Monteleone family is a mafioso family operating in Nicomoy. They are huge rivals of the Safiosi family.
Oh, that's scandalous. That's very scandalous.
Excellent. Wonderful. All right. And
All right, and then I've got my separate
yes.
thing to do, haven't I?
Yep.
It's investigate, interview, and then consult. I'm going to interview Joseph.
And what will you learn?
So, we learn that originally, Joseph was aware that the lawyer was set to arrive, and he set up the library for their meeting. So he set up all sorts of. He set up the chairs. He set up the tables. He prepared it for the meeting, and then at that point he went downstairs. So at the very least he was aware that Maria was contacting the divorce lawyer.
Okay.
And the main reason he says why he didn't go, investigating if there was any kind of kerfuffle or screaming, is that he was hiding down in the basement because he was expecting a visit from a certain goblin.
Ozob. Oh my! I thought I recognized him. I do like Joseph's.
All right. Okay, so we are about halfway through the deck. It is about to turn from night to day, and this is a good time for us to take a quick break. So we are playing here with Ozob,
Aye.
Detective Inspector Deviteaux,
The mystery gets thicker and thicker, just like Ozob.
and Ailbh Goldbeard.
What?
I really need a drink after this. There's so many twists and turns.
Honestly, yeah.
And we will be right back.
Today's mid-episode shout-out is, quote, "Huge gratitude to Matteo. Your continued support has been instrumental in making Briscoe a success. First investor, best friend." End quote. You can arrange for us to read your shout-out at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com. Did you know? We have paperback, ebook, hardcover, and audiobook adaptations of our adventures on Amazon and Audible. Is there an episode of Fire Breathing Kittens that would make someone you know smile? Well, telling them about it would help us loads. Thanks.
Welcome back to the Fire Breathing Kittens, where we are playing 24-Hour Crime Scene by William Long. We are joined today by Ozob.
Hello.
Detective Deviteaux.
We're all going to be covered in snot by the end of this.
And Ailbh Goldbeard.
I sincerely hope there's no more wardrobes or Ozobs.
And we are investigating the double murder of Arturo and Maria Contenza Bilazno de Medici. Now, we are at Ozob's turn. We are now in day. So, yeah, we're in Ozob's turn. Last turn was, we are now in day. It is, dawn has arrived. Ozob. A family member reveals something to you about the victim. What do they tell you? Add it to the victim sheet. Or which suspect has previously been convicted of a crime, and what was it?
I'm going to say the family member is going to come forward. And it's going to be the twin sister of Maria. Antoinette is her name. Don't ask me why there's like one of them's Italian and the other one's,
It's Nick and Moy,
French. They're eclectic like that. So I talked to Antoinette. Apparently, the husband did not know Maria was part of a criminal mafia family, and he was actually the one who was pushing for a divorce after he found out that Maria would belong to a mafia family. So I'm going to talk to Antoinette, and I'm going to ask her for more details surrounding this. And she said that her family is a very, very, they're very against divorce in their family. And if their parents ever found out about the fact Maria was going to get a divorce around the family, they might step in to cause some external divorcing, of life, limb, pursuit of happiness. So that's really messed up. Hate to be in their family. And I'll pass the turn.
Interesting.
All right. Detective Deviteaux. You interview a suspect and discover that they are related to the victim. Who is it and how are they related? Add it to the suspect's profile and to the victim sheet. Or a suspect tells you where they were when the victim was murdered. Who is it? What did they say? And do you believe them?
Okay, so these are all relying on suspects then.
These two questions rely on suspects.
Yeah. Mm.
For those listening at home, our suspects are Dominican, who is some kind of servant and the affair partner of the deceased Arturo.
Probably should not be related.
Unless she could be related to Maria. She could be a twin. Okay.
Oh, that would be scandalous.
Suspect B is Ozob from the past, who stumbled out of a cupboard in the bedroom. And suspect C is Joseph Arturo Filosofano, the servant of the de Medici family.
I'm going to say that Joseph is a love child of either one.
Either one?
I mean, Arturo's already a bit of a horn dog, so let's give him another one.
Joseph may be a little old to be Arturo's son.
What's the age difference between the two?
It's not really established, but I think Joseph may be a little closer to there. It would be a stretch. Let's put it that way.
I mean, realistically, if it's anything 15 years and above, then it's doable.
Okay.
Or cousin. What happens if he's the cousin?
Yeah, it could be cousin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not quite scandalous, though, is it?
It's not as scandalous. It's like, whatever. It's just the cousin.
So you're saying he's the illegitimate son of Arturo, then?
Yeah,
I quite like. If that's doable with the canon we've
he looks older than he has, like old face where he looks older than he actually is.
Or maybe like when Arturo was young and foolish, more
13.
foolish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like because he, like, let's say he's brought Joseph with him throughout, like, all his, like, wherever he's moved to, he's been like a legacy servant.
I mean, Joseph's middle name is Arturo.
Exactly.
There it is. It was right there. Also,
It was there the entire time. I mean, that's kind of the reason why I picked it.
It's also kind of messed up if you think about it, because Joseph is the husband's love child, and he keeps him on as a servant. Like, ooh, that's a little uncomfortable, isn't it?
That was actually not that uncommon in like medieval and Renaissance families.
Oh yeah, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, think about it, right?
Jon Snow.
Yeah. So, does Joseph know? Is he the one who tells you this?
Yeah, I'd say he knows. Obviously, as did Arturo. And I think Maria did as well, but she didn't let on that she knew, because let's face it, he's already got a long string of them in the past anyway.
Maybe this guy deserved to die just a little bit.
Does Joseph know that Maria knew?
No.
Then how? Because remember, you're learning this by interviewing Joseph. So how does that come out in that interview?
I mean, I think it could always come out as Joseph goes or something along the lines of, well, obviously I knew and Arturo knew. Like, Maria, honestly, I couldn't tell you whether she knew or not. She was good at keeping secrets herself, so she may well have known.
Okay.
So it's more of a suspicion rather than a confirmation.
Check.
This entire family was a mess. Like,
yeah.
through and through.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Like, there is not a single branch of this tree that's not crazy.
And then Detective Deviteaux.
Oh yeah,
investigate,
I've got my extra
interview,
thing, don't I?
or
Yeah.
consult.
Blimey. I've got okay. Further interview of Joseph, and I found something even more scandalous to bring up.
What?
So we know that Arturo and Maria were having an argument previously, and as it turns out, that wasn't the first time they've been arguing. They've been arguing for quite a long time, and one of the things which kept getting brought up was Arturo wanting to legitimize Joseph. Okay, so I guess, yeah, Maria definitely did know. I will retroactively change my answer previously.
That is pretty scandalous, actually.
He wanted to legitimize Joseph. Maria was having none of it because Joseph was older than all the other children, which would put him as like inheritor of everything if something were to befall them both.
Oh my goodness. That's really scandalous. Oh
Excellent.
Like Ozob just pulls out the slimy bag of popcorn, just starts
and then
chewing.
Also, due to how the laws of the land worked at the time, if the father figure died, and I mean, remember at the time also Armando had kind of disinherited himself from the family. There would have, let's say there's like an age cutoff for children for like full inheritance.
Okay.
And if the children are all below that cutoff point, then the spouse will get the inheritance if the breadwinner dies.
Oh, it could be Maria.
Saucy.
That could be
Can't
Maria.
However, that does not apply to divorce.
Interesting.
Okay.
It's very complicated, and we're getting it into like very legal things. So it's a good thing we've got a divorce lawyer we can talk to.
Sebastian, where are you?
Please explain this.
Sebastian, I don't know. I'm just a crab. And then crab walks away.
Please, no one do a Jamaican accent.
I can't do a Jamaican accent. My fiance is Jamaican. Maybe I could have them come in here. They would kill me. They'd be like, absolutely not, no.
All right. So we've established a parental inheritance law in which minor children do not inherit, but their surviving parent inherits in their stead. Okay.
Okay.
Ailbh, the weather has changed since the murder took place. How? What is the weather like now? Or reporters start to arrive. Who told them about the murder? What are they most interested in?
So the reporters got wind of this murder. They heard it through Fossial Fules, who is the Nicomoy mayor. How he found out, we do not know.
Not yet.
Well, not yet. He is the a candidate at the same time as Arturo is right now. The murders took place, allegedly, during the period of the sort of campaigning. How Fossiel found out, who knows? Somehow the story got back to him and he has spoken with the reporters. They are most interested to hear. It's quite a high profile, someone's been assassinated essentially during a campaign trail. I don't think we can imagine such a thing happening. But he was offering his condolences to the family, to the Medici family, and saying that he was a truly great man, that he would have put up a really good fight and potentially could have been a great mayor. However, as developments where he was the only other person running, and is therefore the presumptive mayor now of Nicomoy.
What was the mayor's name again?
Fossial Fules.
Okay, he's not a bee. Okay. Interesting. Who's this bee guy? Question.
Okay.
Ailbh looking around the room, and I sort of feel like we've forgotten about the victims here. That there's maybe more we can learn from them. We've been speaking a lot about their past delinquencies, but we have 2 bodies here. Are we sure we've learned everything that we can possibly learn from these bodies? And you'll go over and have another investigate, actually looking at their clothing, and is there anything on them which could shed some light? And as it turns out, yes, there is. And that thing is...
Cut to commercial.
And come back next week to find out.
Another Ozob.
Did he do it, or does he just stink?
But it's actually Ozob from like the far future who's come back again.
I've come back, and he's got a mechanized arm or something. It was the toaster who did it. Skynet. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just thought it would be really funny to put that in there.
You gave me time to think. It's good.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
There is a letter in Arturo's pocket from a member of the Safiosi family. For those unaware, in Nicomoy, Safiosi family are a rival crime family. Fairly dangerous in their own rights. Got up some bad antics, some would say. Antics.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, you must divorce her or we will intervene.
Oh,
not
goodness.
signed by anyone other than Safiosi.
Interesting. I wonder why, because the Safiosa family don't like divorce. So...
The Monteleone family has been established as not liking divorce.
My bad. I got those two.
Yeah,
I'm
the
really-
Safiosi can't wait to get divorced.
I'm really
They're going to
just
get married to get divorced in the end.
I'm really just here to keep continuity, so
There's a
Thank you.
There's a lot of crime families in Nicomoy, as it turns out. We've got 3 separate
There's
groups.
so many crime families. There's like no legitimate businesses at all in Nicomoy.
No legitimate children either.
No. Oh, God.
Your only options in Nicomoy are adventurer or mafia. That's it. Or detective or doctor.
Or born out of wedlock, apparently.
Or servant.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. That was your investigate. It's a good thing you did an investigation, because I've drawn the 2 of hearts, which in 24-hour crime scene means that the party loses access to the victim. But I'm making it a little more difficult. So normally in a 24-hour crime scene game, the coroner removes the victim's body from the crime scene at this point. But instead, the astrolabe of Red Skirt flares again. And you are all standing in the fire-breathing kittens guild hall wearing what you were wearing the first time that it flared. It is a beautiful sunny afternoon. You now no longer have access to the victim's body directly, nor can you investigate the crime scene itself. But you can still connect clues to suspects, find other suspects, interview suspects who will now be reporting on things that happened 11 years ago.
Oh, shoot, we can't interview anyone anymore because they're all probably either dead or like gone.
Hopefully in prison, that'd be a good outcome.
Imagine we roll up to the police officer and like, oh yeah, we figured that out. It's this guy.
I mean, this is an 11-year-old case. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right.
All right. That changes things. Wow, what a twist.
What a twist.
What a twist.
Yes.
All right.
Red Skirt is quite the trickster, isn't he?
I'm gonna slam the astroglobe like repeatedly onto the table. Like, ah!
You add deaths to it. You have just increased its value to the goblin people.
No.
And you may still, Ozob, do an investigate, interview, or consult action.
Interesting. Okay. So, what is the prompt, I guess, for this turn?
That is the prompt. Is that you don't get a prompt to answer. It's the card is basically the turning point.
Okay. I always actually. Well, let's see. I'm not really sure what to do now. Let's see. Can I do a consult question? Like, are any of our suspects still alive at this point?
You don't need to make that a consult question. I'm going to say that they are still alive.
Okay.
Because I don't.
Pretty sure this,
except
past
Ozob is
still
you.
alive.
So there is also that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I still alive?
Can we interview
just like
Ozob then? Because this is now
You
current.
can try.
Because that's past Ozob that was
I
there.
guess
Was the
that's
suspect.
true.
And that's now
Yep.
current Ozob.
Yeah, I guess you can. Okay, I'm going to investigate Joseph. And actually, no. Can I investigate Antoinette?
Okay. Are you investigating or interviewing?
Interviewing.
Okay. So if you interview Antoinette, you are going to establish her as a suspect. She's not currently a suspect.
I don't know. I kind of want to do it because, like, she's just suspicious. Like, why is she doing all this? Especially since she knows her family does not like divorce. And, like,
First up, best up.
I'm going to put Yes, I'm going to make her a suspect, I think.
Okay.
So I'm going to interview Antoinette. And, okay, I actually came up with this really scandalous idea, so I'm going to go through with it.
I hate to bring in
Sure.
the rules. When you
sorry.
add a
Not the
new
rules.
when you add a new suspect, we write their name on the suspect list, and then you reveal why they're a suspect, linking them to the victim, the crime scene, or the clue, or a clue.
So I want to link them to the crime because they were setting up a meeting with their divorce attorney with the sister as well. And she seemed mysteriously absent for any of the proceedings, and she also didn't show up with her lawyer either. So where was she during all this time? It's just a little suspicious. So I'd like to ask her a question.
This is what you get. You don't get to ask another question.
Oh, I don't get to ask
According to
anymore.
the
So I
rules.
just
It's just
okay.
you
I establish them as a suspect,
and connect them,
and then I leave them alone.
Yeah.
Darn it! I'll be like, Antoinette, I accuse. Actually, no, you can't. Oh, darn it! Hold it! Objection. So I want to put the Antoinette up there.
Okay.
As
so
a possible
she's now a suspect, and other people
now
can
a
interview
suspect.
her, or you can interview her on your next turn, or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Detective Deviteaux.
I'm gonna have to get onto another page of my notebook.
What is something that you find unnerving about a suspect, or a suspect contradicts something that another suspect has said? What is it?
The daytime questions are a bit more pointy, aren't they?
You just hear the sound of gears turning. No, I know. I'm not trying to rush anybody. I just thought I was like, I just saw him like just biting his pen, looking down at his notebook, and I'm like, oh, he's thinking.
Well, that's the thing when you're actually playing this as a professional. Like, normally, I would just go, just whatever, let's see what we can do. What's the weirdest thing I can think of? But I'm actually trying to clue it together and get a narrative in there.
I think that's good.
So I think the thing that unnerves me about this is that now we're back in the present day and I can go over my my previous case notes that I suddenly have available to me now. One thing that keeps coming up in a lot of these unsolved cases is a mysterious green mark on the victims' necks. So these two victims are not the only ones to have been visited by whoever actually did it, or whoever left those marks. I mean, not to name names anyway, but there is a certain serial killer I'm after at the moment, and it's getting away from me.
So
I'm not bitter.
So this is something that you have seen with cases involving Dr. Nightshade?
Too many times.
Dun, dun, dun.
Out of curiosity, like, when did Dr. Nightshade start his attacks is another thing. If they started, like, around the time we were investigating this couple's murder, it would make sense, potentially, one of our suspects is actually Dr. Nightshade.
I think, yeah, based on the notes I've built up over the years, like, his activities predate a lot of what we're looking at the moment. It's just that, well, the information I've got suggests that he used to be made a living as a hitman, and then,
Wait, a hitman for the mafia? Like a potential mafia family he would do work for?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, Detective Deviteaux, are you investigating, interviewing, or consulting?
Did actually have a quite a fun thought. It's in there somewhere. Yeah, we'll interview Antoinette, actually.
Ooh.
Because we've opened that line of investigation, so it'd be a shame not to follow it through.
So you go back to, you go find Antoinette.
Yeah, it takes ages.
Yeah.
Literally, this entire investigation has taken ages.
It is definitely a cold case.
Yes, very cold.
What do you learn from her? This can, of course, tie her to a clue as well.
Yeah. Ooh, here's one. How about we find out that she was working closely with the mayor at the time.
Interesting. Like the mayor who ran unopposed because the husband died.
That's the one, yeah.
Interesting.
Excellent. All right. Ailbh. A suspect refuses to tell you their alibi. Who is it and why are they refusing? Or...
Ozob.
This is Ailbh.
No, there's Ozob.
Oh, right. Or...
I refuse to tell you anything.
Or... You interview a suspect and discover that they know another suspect. Who is it and how are they connected?
So, our suspects, Joseph, now presumably wealthy, going by the rules set out that, if he'd been legitimised, it might be that he's been legitimised since.
We don't know that.
Do we want...
Yeah.
We can put it in canon.
I mean, you can push it into canon if
Joseph is.
You could interview him after.
He's doing okay for himself now, and
okay.
At one point where he was interviewed, years after the facts, maybe not now necessarily, but as part of the cold case, and he holds a relationship now with Dominica. Perhaps they are an item, married, or otherwise, that two of our suspects are in a relationship together, Joseph and Dominica.
Wait, so... Oh my god, wait, ew, wait. But what about the affair baby?
I thought Dominica...
different person.
Different one, yeah. They're not...
But that was from the husband. So, like,
Yeah.
one of the
I thought Dominica was from...
husband's love babies ended up being the father to another love child.
No, I don't think so. I think
Because if Joseph is the
so.
illegitimate heir...
Arturo had two illegitimate children.
Yeah.
Joseph,
Yeah.
who is an adult
Yeah.
11 years ago, and somebody with Dominica who we don't know anything about them, but they were a child 11 years ago.
That would mean
And then
Joseph
if they're
and Dominica are
together
related.
now,
And
that means
they're not related to
technically
each
he's-
other.
Okay.
No, they're not. We're not saying that. We're
No,
saying...
but what it means is that Joseph is now stepdad to his half brother.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, gross.
See, I'm playing as a professional.
Yeah,
for
you
once.
got,
I
you got your
actually know what's
notebook.
going
You
on.
know everything.
Yes.
All right.
So,
Yep.
not necessarily a sexual relationship, I should clarify, but,
No, it
could
could
be.
be. It's fine. I mean, they're not related.
Well, are they
really?
in a romantic relationship?
let's say yes, they are.
Okay.
I mean, not specifically a healthy one, bearing in mind she stalked
Yeah.
his dad.
None of this is healthy.
Well, you know.
Oh, that makes it even weirder.
But what about this case is not
None of
weird?
this is
Fair
good.
enough.
Like this family is not exactly
Ailbh,
functional.
Ailbh, investigate, interview, or consult.
I would like to consult with my fellow detectives. And the question I'm going to ask is, we have 4 suspects, Ozob, you're one of.
Not me, Ozob. The other Ozob, who's also me.
Who do we think is the most likely murderer out of our list of suspects?
I really don't think I did it. I mean, I would have remembered if I did it, right?
I feel, having spoken to you, Ozob, your past would have caught up to you had you committed this crime. I think that would have come to light before now. I'm not saying we're going to discount you entirely, because you don't remember. But there's a
Fair
reasonable
enough.
chance. There's at least 3 better suspects on the
Yes.
table here.
So,
Okay, but the
I
question
wanna say-
is,
Question is,
who is the most likely?
who is the most likely?
I'm leaning towards either Joseph, because he's got a lot of weird stuff going on, especially with like the legitimization like nonsense that went on, and he's also benefited a lot. So I'm gonna say either him or Antoinette, just because she's a new suspect and she has a lot of like going ons that we haven't heard about how she was involved beyond the lawyer, and I find that really suspicious. So those are my 2 options.
And then-
I know you said who's the most, but those are my 2.
Deviteaux?
At the moment, I'm leaning towards Antoinette in terms of the person organizing the murder. I don't think any of our suspects actually did the deed.
Interesting.
And Ailbh.
I'm really not sure. I'm happy to discount Ozob, but it doesn't fit the spider web. As soon as we're pulling one, they're all pulling back in together, and Antoinette is intriguing. She's a very intriguing suspect. Her relationship, being a sister of the deceased, the mafia connection in there, feels more likely than the other 2. I think Joseph and Dominica, maybe it was just a opportunistic thing. They've benefited, not by design, but they've embraced that benefit. So I would say Antoinette.
Yeah.
All right. Ozob,
Yeah.
you receive an anonymous message about one of the suspects. What does it say? Do you believe it? Or a suspect tries to warn you about something. What are they trying to warn you about?
I'm going to get an anonymous letter. And I open it up and I'm like, okay. I open it up. The killer murdered the wrong sister.
Do you believe it?
I do believe it. And I'd like to interview Antoinette. And what she says is truly shocking. For she reveals that on the day Maria got killed, it wasn't Maria that got killed, it was Antoinette. She had gone to the mansion that day to be there for the divorce with the divorce lawyer ahead of time, and Maria was running late. And when she arrived, both her husband and her sister was dead, Antoinette killed in her place. So then she pretended to be Antoinette to avoid getting murdered herself.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking
Yes.
news coming out of this investigation. Okay.
Absolutely. But she doesn't know who actually did the deed or why.
Yeah, obviously.
So, as our suspect, would then change from Antoinette to Maria? But just by
Maria.
default
Yeah.
of the information.
Yes. Also, she didn't send the letter.
Oh, it's anonymous, so we don't know.
It's an anonymous letter. Yeah.
Yes, we don't know who did. So nobody knows who sent the letter.
Okay.
Dun dun dun.
Of course, that brings up a couple of questions out of game, because previously we've met Maria in the afterlife.
Oh.
I mean, she could have died later after this investigation.
Well, no. I'm just thinking, like, is Antoinette still pretending to be... Is Antoinette pretending to be Maria in that case?
Possibly, or
Or did she turn up to the house pretending to be her sister for whatever reason?
in the afterlife.
That is a good question.
Oh, in
No, in
this.
In real life.
on the day she died.
That's true.
Yeah.
Suspects can lie. So Antoinette claiming to be actually Maria may be lying as well. Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Speaking of which,
I don't know.
Dr.
Identity fraud's
Detective
pretty easy.
Deviteaux, this is your prompt. Speaking of lying, you think that one of the suspects is lying. What are they lying about? Or you recognize one of the suspects. Where do you recognize them from?
You know what? I think Antoinette might be pulling our chain.
Okay.
Because let's face it, if it's quite easy to say, hey, I'm actually my twin sister. I'm actually Maria. I didn't do any of that mafia stuff. Oh, look, easy alibi.
That is true. She could be trying to pull one over on us.
And let's face it, it's been 11 years. We would have heard from Armando if his mother was actually secretly alive. Like, they didn't have the best relationship in the world, but I'm pretty confident she would not let her son think she was dead for all that time.
Maybe.
So I think what's happening here is Antoinette is just seeing an opportunity to get herself off the hook for what she may have done all those years ago.
That would be diabolical. Also, it's hard to prove that you're actually your twin. Especially if they're identical twins, which I feel like they are at this point.
That was my presumption when we said twins, is that they're identical. That
And
makes the story easier.
And so brings me to my action of interviewing Ozob.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Because in his sordid history of multiple paramours within that very house,
Yeah?
one of the people he had an affair with
I'm so excited.
was Maria,
Oh, yeah.
who had a scar on the back of her head from a horse riding accident that she sustained as a girl,
Okay.
which Antoinette would not have.
That is true. So how...
And so there is a way to definitively prove which sister she is.
And are you learning something about Antoinette here as a result?
Oh, if I'm allowed to
Yeah.
go that far,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can.
sure. There is no scar on the back of the woman's head.
So she might be she's still a suspect.
So she was in fact lying about being her sister.
Oh,
Alrighty.
man. This is just back and forth. Like, oh my goodness.
It's like murder tennis, isn't it?
It is. She's like, aha, no.
Ailbh.
Actually,
Antoinette
there's
is
no
Antoinette.
scar.
Is that what we're
Ailbh.
saying?
Yeah, that's what we're
is
saying.
Antoinette.
Yes, Antoinette is Antoinette. She's just saying she's actually Maria, so she can get off the hook for a bunch, maybe the murder.
Or other
something
things
else.
that
Other
she's
things.
done.
Or other awful things she's
Many
done.
other crimes.
We should just arrest Antoinette at this
Seems
point.
like the smart thing to do.
Ailbh.
Also, by the by, like if you're like, "Hey, I'm my sister," that's the bank going, "Oh, here you go. Here's your money."
Right.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about it like that.
Ailbh, which suspect seems the least upset about the victim's death? Or a family member of the victim shows you a portrait of the victim and someone else. Describe this portrait.
See the second one again?
A family member of the victim shows you a portrait or picture of the victim and someone else. Describe this picture.
Since we're back in the Guildhall, sort of gives us access to a very good friend of the party here, a certain Deviteaux, who is a family member of the two murdered.
Are you speaking of Armando?
I am speaking of Armando. I'm okay to take agency that way?
Yes.
Yeah. So Armando just speaking to us broadly in the Guildhall, and forgive, I won't do the accent. The player's much better at accents than I. Shows this image, and I'm really sorry about this one, guys.
Is it Ozob?
Which is showing
Who is in the picture?
it's Arturo,
Who's in the picture?
it's Maria,
Okay.
it's Antoinette, and a third.
There's three sisters.
Wait, is this one identical or just looks different?
There's definitely a familial resemblance. Does not appear to be, doesn't necessarily be a sister, but there's certainly a familial resemblance to Maria and Antoinette.
Ooh. Who is this third woman? I thought they were just twins. They were triplets.
Is it not necessarily a sister? Could
Oh, it's just a sister.
be some other relation, but there's certainly
poor woman.
a third woman, we presume, just based on the knowledge we have, related to the twin sisters.
Why
Since
is
you're
there a
getting
third
this from
sister?
Arturo, can he identify if that is perhaps another aunt?
From
us?
Armando.
Yep. Sorry, from Armando.
This is a sister.
Okay.
This is a younger sister of the twins. He oddly isn't aware of the name. He heard murmurings at various family gatherings or through people known to the family that there was another sister. The name either
She's estranged.
obfuscated or disguised or purposefully suppressed.
Is she
Uh,
older
younger.
or is she younger? Younger sister.
Only going by the photo by a few years, certainly within 11. So she would have been present around that time.
Interesting.
And Ailbh, investigate, interview, or consult.
Does it have to be a suspect that's interviewed? Going by the rules.
I feel like we could talk to like.
It does. It
by
says
the,
it's
by the rules.
interview suspect.
Yes.
okay.
We don't have. Unfortunately, we don't know who the sister is. We can't. And she's
But you
not a
can
suspect
you can
either.
interview a suspect and get information about a different suspect or
So
someone else.
So I think interviewing Antoinette, who we now believe is Antoinette, we're fairly certain of that now. And we'll certainly ask about this younger sister. And we find out her name is Annabelle.
Annabelle. These very like European diverse names of Antoinette, Maria, and Annabelle.
And
This family really like different names.
Annabelle,
Do you have more? Because I feel like you could have just established that as part of that first thing. Yeah.
so Annabelle was somewhat estranged. She is a full sister. She is was part of the family, but the age at the time, she did something, Annabelle. Antoinette didn't know the exact circumstance, but it certainly upset her parents, and she was estranged as a consequence of her actions. This is what Antoinette tells us. Bearing in mind they can lie.
But the portrait
Can't. So she exists, but the circumstance around her estrangement.
I mean, keep in mind, these are all members of the Monteleone family, so she may, whatever she did to estrange herself, could be quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. I shall wrap there.
Okay. All right. We are down to our last 3 cards, so we're going to be making an accusation suit.
Oh my goodness, we're running out of time.
Ozob.
And there's a third sister.
Ozob,
Yes! Yes!
here's your prompt.
Okay, it might be irrelevant.
Here's your prompt. Consult the other detectives. Which suspect has the biggest reason for wanting to kill the victim? Or consult the other detectives. Which suspect seems the most capable of killing?
I'm going to go with the second one. Which suspect do you think is most capable of killing? I think, here's the thing. I think Antoinette is still a big suspect. She was raised by a mafia family. She has something going on. She's trying to use the fact that she pretended to be Maria for some reason.
Wait. On a consult,
Sorry.
you go last.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry.
I'm going to be quiet. What do you think is the most capable of murder?
Well, if we're talking capability, yeah, I'd say definitely Antoinette. I mean, if we're looking at the others, we got, a serving girl who, aside from some light stalking, hasn't done anything. With a time, Joseph, the secret son. I mean, if he wanted to off his father and Maria, he had time to do it beforehand, his entire life.
True.
And then we have Ozob, who's not even capable of, blowing his own nose properly.
I can blow it. And I blow my nose and just goes, half of it goes to the tissue, the other half just goes flying elsewhere.
Big bubble of snot.
Thank you for demonstrating.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Ailbh, who do you think is most capable of committing this murder?
I concur with my esteemed colleague. Antoinette, we don't know the reason yet. She's involved with something. We just need to prove what that thing is now. Joseph, if he wanted to, he could have disappeared with the money that he got here. Well, he appears to be doing well for himself. He could have disappeared and never be seen here again in Nicomoy. But he hung around. At least Antoinette tried to cover her tracks. And Dominica, unlikely, opportunistic. Ozob is Ozob. We love him.
Thank you.
We love him.
Thank you.
But
Ozob, which suspect
And I've
seems
killed
most
people
capable
before,
of
too.
killing?
I've actually killed a fair number of people. Remember the suspect that I sneezed down the stairs? I killed that guy. Straight up. But I probably didn't. I know myself pretty well. At least I think I do. And I look one left and then right. Anyway, I don't think I killed this person, these people. But I do agree, there's something shady about Antoinette we don't understand yet. Why is she claiming now, out of all the times, that she's actually Maria? Unless you can't murder a dead woman. No, that doesn't make any sense. I take it back.
All right. Investigate, interview, or consult. Ozob.
Okay. I would like to ask Antoinette. I would like to interview her. And I'm going to ask her exactly what happened, as far as you know, between Maria and the third sister. Was it Abigail?
Annabelle.
Annabelle. And she's going to reveal that she had pushed a nun down the stairs, and who broke her leg, and then she blamed it on her sister. So the sister got sent to a mental asylum.
Wait.
As a result.
Antoinette.
No, Maria. Is that right? Does that work in the... You just blank this entire section.
Who are you trying to send to a mental asylum? Let's figure that one out.
I'm trying to... The third sister, that's why she was not around.
Annabelle.
Yeah, Annabelle, that's why she's not around.
Okay, you don't have to explain why she went to the mental asylum.
Well, I figured like the reason that they didn't like each other was that she framed Annabelle.
Okay.
So that's why.
Antoinette did or Maria did?
Maria did. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Maybe I should just start over.
I mean, it's fine. It works.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, so
And that's why they were upset with each other.
Annabelle was framed by Maria for something that got her sent to a mental asylum.
Yes.
I'm going to put that over on the victim sheet because I think that's a victim-related
Yes.
tip.
So Annabelle framed by Maria.
And she also says, yes. And Antoinette also confides that she was always scared of Maria after that. And she was worried that she might do something similar to her if she ever got on her bad side.
Alrighty. Detective Deviteaux, through your contacts in the Nicomoy Town Guard, you have obtained a copy of the coroner's report. Either the coroner rules that the time of death was between blank and blank, you get to decide, or the coroner's report eliminates a possible cause of death.
We're going to go for the second one. We are absolutely eliminating stabbing / slashing.
Blood loss by knife.
Slashing.
Yeah. That too, yeah.
Technically, they did lose blood from the knife.
That's not
but
the-
They didn't kill her. Or
No,
him.
they were dead before then.
Okay. Also, after this,
Excellent.
I'm taking the Astroglobe and I'm just going to bury it somewhere because this was the worst relic ever.
And Deviteaux, your action?
Okay, my final action is I'm going to investigate Antoinette a bit further.
Investigate as in frisk her? This has been 11 years. Or interview her.
More as a, investigate around her. Like paper trail.
Okay, paper trail. Got it.
So, what we discover is that the divorce lawyer she recommended to her sister, I'm just going to go for my normal voice at the moment. The divorce lawyer she recommended to her sister also had provided similar services to the mayor at the time, as well as some, just general kind of paperwork, accounting practices as well. It was a bit weird, bit of a weird time. You could do accounting and divorce lawyering in the same course.
Yeah, that is a little suspicious.
But importantly, that particular lawyer's name was Bernard.
B!
Not Sebastian?
From earlier.
Oh yeah,
Actually, he could go by the nickname Bastion, too.
yeah, yeah. Let's go with that. Some people go by Seb. He went by Bastion.
B! He's the one who set those weird notes.
Okay.
It's all coming together.
Ailbh,
Do I have space to?
consult the other detectives. Which suspect had the best opportunity to kill the victim? So now we're looking at opportunity. Or consult the other detectives. Which suspect has the weakest alibi?
Detectives, tell me.
Okay.
We've heard many
Yes.
alibis.
Yes?
Whose alibi doesn't hold up to you?
If I am to say so, there's one suspect among here who has no alibi whatsoever. I mean, Ozob was unconscious in a cupboard, so he couldn't have done it unless somebody attacked him later, which makes no sense. Joseph, he found the bodies and reported them, and also was not on the crime scene. He was in the basement because I was, having some fun with him. And on top of that, who's the last suspect?
Dominica.
We have Dominica and Antoinette.
Dominica was covering for the killer, so again, she was not involved because she got threatening blackmail letters from B. Antoinette has no alibi. She has no excuse where she was at the time of the murders and was never seen until way, way after the murders had already taken place. I think it's Antoinette.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I would agree with that. Bearing in mind, Antoinette's alibi was I'm secretly Maria, which we managed to disprove. But I will also mention that we do have proof Ozob was, innocent of this, in that he had the mark on his neck, which means that the person who broke in and killed Maria and Arturo also tried to take out Ozob. Potentially why he was in the cupboard in the first place and doesn't
He
remember
was
anything.
also in the library and
You
moved.
know,
Put in the cupboard.
yes. But you know what that means, actually? It might have just... Yes. That makes most sense to me. I have nothing else to say.
And Ailbh, what is your answer for the alibi?
Dominica is fine. I think she lied initially, but came true or what we believe to be the truth, and that holds up with what we know about the story. Ozob, we've just cleared you. You're fine.
Yay!
Well, not fine.
You're fine relating to this crime.
You're not guilty of this crime.
Yay!
Then was Joseph.
I need to do more crimes.
We had reason to believe that Joseph had lied at some point, that he didn't discover the bodies when he did. He was in a different part of the mansion or not in the mansion at all. So we've not fully disproved, but we knew there was some fabrication there that we never fully resolved, did we? And then we've got Antoinette, who was found to be lying. She did not come forward with the truth. She tried to obfuscate who she was for many years. It's got to be Antoinette. It's got the loosest alibi.
Okay. And then investigate, interview, or consult.
Rules question. Do we accuse somebody after this last card? Do we have to make that determination?
Yes.
Right.
There will be a final consult after this card, so you do not need to use your action to consult
Guys?
on who do you think done it.
Shoot. Oh, hello? Hello? Is anyone there? Okay, sorry. I lost connection, so I was like, sorry about that. Sorry.
That's fine. As long as you don't press stop recording, you're fine.
Yeah, sweet. I guess X that last part of me going, what? What's going on, guys?
I think that's within character, to be honest.
Yeah. So anyways, what did I miss? Okay, sweet.
I'm struggling at this point now because I think, I'm not saying our minds are made up, but it certainly feels that way. I'm going to interview Antoinette and asking her about why she adopted her sister's whole persona for so long, and she realised back it was the only way to keep herself safe.
Which sister now?
Sorry?
Interesting.
Which sister?
Antoinette.
Whose persona did she adopt?
Maria's. I think that is where I'll leave it, and then that is the deck done, I believe.
That is the deck.
How
So
exciting.
now we go into the end of the game.
And then everyone turns around and says, oh, it was clearly Ozob.
Obviously. So after the final card has been revealed, the active player finishes their turn, as Ailbh just did, and we have one final consultation to decide which suspect you are going to charge with the victim's murder. So each detective succinctly explains which suspect they think murdered the victim, how they committed the murder, and why. And then we will vote. So, Ozob.
I think it was Antoinette with hypodermic needles. She ambushed both Maria and the husband, whose name I keep forgetting
Arturo.
because it's thank you, Arturo, and attacked them with hypodermic needles. Found Ozob, decided to try to silence him. The hypodermic needle didn't work on him for some reason because I'm so awesome, obviously. And then she pretended to be her sister to pretend that it was some unrelated murderer. So I think that's who did it, why. And then she left the mansion.
Wait, what was the reason
flashed, because she was always scared of Maria after what Maria did to their third sister.
Okay.
And she wanted to take revenge.
Alrighty.
That's my belief.
Okay. Detective Deviteaux.
I mean, not to make this sound like a conspiracy, but I think it goes deeper than that.
That could be it. Do you think she hired someone else to do the murder?
So, there's a name that I have been on the hunt for many years now. Dr. Nightshade. The marks on the victims and the cause of death line up with his current MO. So, and also, with with my previous experience with him, I believe that Dr. Nightshade was the one who did the deed. However, he is a tool. So whilst he, I believe, did the murders, he was not the one who ordered them.
You know,
And
it just
and
made
who
me-
do you think did it? Like
I
hired
believe
him.
the one who did do the ordering was Antoinette.
And why?
Because, let me tell you first why. So, as we knew previously, Arturo and Maria were having multiple spats with trying to get Joseph legitimized, which led to a whole load of difficulty, and Arturo maybe wanting to get divorced, and during his run as mayor, this is whole web. So forgive me if I don't necessarily do this in the right order. So let's go for the divorce stuff to begin with. So Arturo was trying to get his illegitimate son legitimized, which Maria was not a fan of. So Arturo wanted to maybe try and go for a divorce. Then it would be easier to get him legitimized, and then that would end up with Maria getting divorced, which, as with the Monteleone families, as we know, they are not a fan of divorce either way. So there is that one position. So if they did get divorced, then they'd probably just send someone to get rid of them anyway. Then going on to the mayorship, Arturo was running for mayor, which, as we know, he was running on a very anti-mob bill, which would directly put Maria in the firing line, not to mention Antoinette and the rest of her family. The mayor at the time was working very closely with Antoinette, who I think you can probably agree had a good reason to get want his competition not there anymore.
Right.
So perhaps Antoinette just saw the opportunity, saw the mess that it was making with her family, and just said, no more. So she goes and hires Dr. Nightshade, an old family friend, as it were, and gets him to take out both Maria and Arturo. So whilst Maria dies, and then she can go, oh, I'm Maria. Maybe it was Antoinette secretly going over there so I can have the money from their bank account. Now we don't necessarily have a legitimized Joseph, and the wife takes the money.
Okay.
And Ailbh.
So my theory is along the same lines, but the mechanism slightly different. I agree with the mayoral side. I think Fozio Fules has a part to play in this. I think his part to play was he ordered the hit. He convinced Antoinette that allowing them to divorce would destabilise the various families, the Safiosis, the forgive me, names have gone at the moment.
Monteleone.
Would destabilise the relationship between those three. So the divorce couldn't happen. The fact that Arturo was running for mayor put Fozio Fules' campaign at risk. So he approached Antoinette, her being close to the situation, and convinced her to kill them, to keep that family together, to protect the relationship between the mafia families, and then convinced her, you can benefit yourself through becoming Maria. You can financially gain from this. So she carried out the deed. She committed the murder, but it was not her own doing. She was convinced by the now mayor of Nicomoy.
So the mayor convinces her to leverage her family connections to hire
Dr.
Very
Nightshade.
possibly.
to do the. So the mayor is covering his own backside by being
Absolutely.
2 degrees of separation away
Yeah.
from the actual
He
deed.
removed,
And we're never gonna
removed
catch
himself
him
away
now.
to protect his mayoralship, and he's clearly benefited. Antoinette has benefited. That is my theory.
Okay. So now you will vote on which suspect you want to charge. You can only vote once. Ozob, who do you want to charge?
Antoinette. She did it.
Deviteaux, who do you want to charge?
Be wild to say.
It'd be very
Ozob.
funny if we both ganged up on him.
Yeah.
And that's when starring next time, Ozob in jail. That actually probably would be good.
Antoinette.
And Ailbh, who do you want to charge?
Antoinette.
Okay. The Nicomoy town guard arrests Antoinette and charges her. She is taken to the courts and detained, and she will probably be determined guilty. Justice has been served. Dun dun dun.
There's cheering in the streets.
Meanwhile, Dr. Nightshade's like, all according to plan.
That's right.
Scot-free again.
All right. You've been listening to the Fire Breathing Kittens playing 24-Hour Crime Scene by William Long. We've been joined today by Ozob.
Bye, guys.
Detective Inspector Deviteaux.
And Dr. Nightshade is still out there.
And Ailbh Goldbeard.
I am a thirsty, thirsty dwarf.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.